Morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, December the 29th. And the quote that I wanted to leave you with today is by John C. Maxwell. And that quote is, "If you don't have peace, it isn't because someone took it from you, you gave it away. You cannot always control what happens to you, but you can control what happens in you." And I'm going to say that one more time. If you don't have peace, it isn't because someone took it from you, you gave it away. You cannot always control what happens to you, but you can control what's in you. And the reason I wanted to leave you with that quote today is because, I've seen a lot of people that have a victim mindset. And if you don't know what a victim mindset is, that's someone who always blames everything that's bad that happens in their life on something else. They don't take responsibility, they don't take control over their actions or what's going on in their life. And the reason that's important is because if you don't take control or you don't take responsibility of the things that are going on in your life, and that is the good things and the bad things, you'll never be successful. Because successful people take control or take responsibility for everything that goes on in their life, whether it's something that may be completely out of their control, like the weather, or let's say the electricity went off in their whole neighborhood because there was too many people using the electricity. Someone who is successful is not going to blame the electricity company. They're going to take responsibility for them not having electricity and think, what can they do in the future in order to prevent that from happening again? But someone who does not take responsibility, who blames other people, is going to say, well, there's nothing that I can do about it because, I don't have control over the electricity, or it's the electrical company's fault. I shouldn't have to, worry about what goes on with the electricity. You see, the difference between those two people is one person takes responsibility for the electricity going out and thinks about what they can do in the future in order to prevent that from happening again, whereas the other person completely relinquishes themselves of any responsibility of that and says that they don't have anything that, or they can't do anything about it. So one person is going to figure out what they can do going forward to prevent that from happening, and the other person is just going to blame that circumstance or that event or their emotions on someone else, and they're going to continue going through a continuous loop of those things happening to them and them feeling like they're the victim and they can't do anything else about it because they've given responsibility or they've given control to someone else. So when you're going through things in life, regardless of what it is, start trying to take responsibility of it, regardless if you think you can control it or not. If you're going to work this morning and someone cuts you off, don't immediately get upset at that person because they don't even know that you're upset, more than likely, and you're going to be upset for the next 20 or 30 minutes for what? You can't do anything about them cutting you off a few seconds ago by being upset. It's only going to make your day worse. So instead, if you get cut off, what could you have done to prevent that from happening in the future? Maybe you could have left work early. Are you running late for work? If you're running late for work and someone cuts you off, it becomes a lot more frustrating because you think it's preventing you from getting to work faster. But had you left, 15, 20 minutes early to go to work, maybe that person cutting you off wouldn't have mattered because it's not going to prevent you from getting to work late. Or maybe you ran into traffic this morning because you didn't leave to work early. And you're frustrated because you're sitting there in traffic because you're going to be late for work. Don't blame it on the traffic. Think about what you could have done differently to prevent that situation from happening to you again in the future. Maybe you could have left to go to work earlier. So that way, when you're stuck in that traffic, you're not frustrated because you're still going to be at work on time. You see, you got to stop blaming everything on circumstances or everything else and start taking responsibility for not only your emotions, but everything that's going on in your life. Because once you start thinking like that, you can better your life, and that will lead you to success, because successful people make things happen, whereas people that aren't successful blame things on everyone else.